Not a lot of people know this one hack about Chromium browsers. They ship with a built-in and very secure sandbox that you can leverage for AI code execution. So you can use AI generated code, execute it in the sandbox within your own browser without the code leaving the browser, without the code being able to do any exploits. So you could, instead of using services like E2B and sending your code out via API to be executed in this remote sandbox and pay money, you could just leverage your own browser. For example, we can give this query like use the retriever MCP tool, MCP execute JavaScript tool to run this sample code block. So I already set it up with retriever, but you would just copy paste the MCP URL from our extension and go to manage connectors in Claude, for example, and add the custom connector. And you would just paste the URL here, and boom, your Claude, any website agent with MCP client could be able to take actions on your browser and could now also execute code in your browser without that code leaving. So this will trigger Claude to use the new MCP tool that we have for executing JavaScript code, and this is sent to the browser and it gets executed. So here we have the test alert from the Chrome extension. So the browser doesn't even need to be open actually. The extension doesn't even need to be open. It can just execute in the background and you can save a ton of money, resources, and have privacy. Yeah, so the alert was successful. And this is just at the very basic of, hey, get the LLM to generate code and execute it within the sandbox. But we can go to the next step, right? Like we have previous tool generation capability where you can just ask Retriever, like, hey, create a tool using this API key, and so we have this HubSpot entry tool right here with the default, wrong one, I think it was load HubSpot contact. So with these default parameter of the access token, so this default parameter never leaves the browser, and you can have websites or other agents be able to call this tool that gets executed with this code block in your browser, and these sensitive tokens, you don't have to send it to EDB or via like network calls that are logged. This is just stays securely and safely within the browser. So, for example, I could use this with call these functions that I have set up using the setup tools that I've used with the context of the open tab and call them from Claude. I have this other tool of getting SF private owned public spaces, and I could ask Claude to call this tool, and this will trigger Claude to call the MCP server for retriever, which will trigger the code to be executed, this function to be called within the Chrome extension and retrieved. So Claude called this tool, which just like fetches this SF government API JSON, and it's since it's being used in your own browser, you will have the permissions of your browser, and it called the tool, it has these things, and it generated the response. And it could have called the HubSpot contact tool with that access token being safely stored within the browser, never leaving your browser. Yeah, so this brings a whole new world of like new model of safe tool generation, execution remotely via MCP server. From you could imagine, for example, a Slack bot being able to be integrated with Retriever. You just paste the URL into there, and not only could it generate Jira issues in background tabs, your Slack bot can now call tools you have set up with Retriever in there as well. So we're excited to see pushing the frontiers of sandbox code execution, new ways of executing these sandbox code within the browser, leveraging a lot of capabilities that were already built out, right? Like we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a whole world of things to re-leverage in this new world of AI.